Welcome to Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. Hear thousands of hours of Dennis's lectures, courses, and classic radio programs. And to purchase Dennis Prager's Rational Bibles, go to DennisPrager.com.
It's the happy hour. Yes, it is. It's the happy hour. Yes, it is. Hey, everybody. This is it. No matter what, pretty much no matter what, we have the happiness hour on the Dennis Prager Show every Friday at this time because happiness is critical. Yes, it is, my friends. Don't think it is just a selfish pursuit. If you get happy, you make people around you happier. You have a moral duty to be happy. That is correct. That is one of the insights in my book, Happiness is a Serious Problem, which I urge you to read. I know it sounds like an ad. I can live with that. What can I have no choice. I didn't spend 10 years so that nobody would read it, even though it became a bestseller. A lot of you haven't seen it. That is what this show is based on. All of those years of talking about, lecturing on, thinking about, working on, and a whole lifetime of working on being happy. Now, today's subject is truly what I would call a back to basics. I have over these years, and we are, by the way, now producing CDs of the best of the happiness hours. I really hope, I really do, that each of these hours changes your life in some way. That is how much weight I place upon the importance of this hour. And the feedback I get justifies my thinking this way, and it means a great deal to me. Life is difficult for everyone. 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 You may not think that because it is very easy to look at others' lives and think, oh my God, they really have it easy. Now, truth is, some have it easier than others. Of course that's true. People living in Saddam Hussein's Iraq or under the Nazis hardly had as life as easy as the vast majority of Americans or many other people living in free societies. Of course that's true. But by and large, everybody has real issues in life. Everyone. There is no exception to that. Not me, not the persons that have touched you most in life, not your parents, not your spouse, not your kids. Everyone has issues. Everyone. Everyone has suffered. Now, there are, of course, different degrees of suffering, obviously. But that's the point, or that's not the point. In other words, the point is that that's not the point. Here's the point. The fact is that all of us have issues. All of us suffer. That life is a challenge for every one of us in many, many areas. Therefore, you cannot rely, folks, listen carefully. You cannot rely on life to make you happy. This almost sounds incredible, I'm sure. Because most people go through life thinking, I will be happy when something good happens. So I rely on life's experiences, what happens to make me happy. But no, you can't do that. Don't. It's wrong. Don't rely on life to make you happy. You rely on your decision to be happy, to be happy. That, my friends, is it. Happiness is, for most people, I'm not speaking of those who have a biochemical incapacity, but for the vast majority of people, happiness, certainly in our society, okay, we'll restrict it to our society and societies as free and affluent as ours. So happiness is overwhelmingly a decision that you make to be happy. I resolve to be happy. Because if you let life direct your happiness, A, you will fluctuate all day, every day. Happy now, an hour ago I was depressed. Next hour I will be angry. In the fourth hour I'll be happy again. because you are allowing life's happenings to determine your happiness. Big mistake. Big mistake, although it seems perfectly natural, and it is natural. That is exactly natural. It is natural to respond emotionally to events, of course. I'm not saying you shouldn't respond emotionally to events. You should. That is what differentiates you from Big Blue, the IBM computer. Big Blue doesn't respond emotionally to events. That's what makes us human, is emotional response. That's great. But you can't let that determine whether or not you'll be happy. Happiness is something to work on. Listen, why do you think I titled my book, Happiness is a Serious Problem? Because it is. By the way, it's very interesting. My publisher, HarperCollins, thought that was a downer. Dennis, they're not going to buy it. Dennis, you need an up title for a book on happiness in particular. And I said, yeah, but happiness is a serious problem happens to be true. People will relate to it. And it turns out it was a very good and effective title. 1-8-PRAGER-776 is the number. 1-8-PRAGER 776. Here's what I want you to call in. You can call in on anything, obviously. But here's what I want you to call in. It's what I am inviting. A, do you understand what it means when I say it's a decision and that you don't just rely on emotionally reacting to the events of your life to make you happy or unhappy? B, have you tried this, either successfully or unsuccessfully? It was, in fact, I think Lincoln who said, we are as happy as we decide to be. That is true. Did you ever notice, let me give you an example from my own life. Did you ever notice that virtually every single show I'm up? I don't mean manic, but up. Now, do you think that at every single show that I've ever given, there has nothing been in my life that has been sad? There is no event that has troubled me or angered me in the world or in my personal life that can make me down? But I can't do that. I can't get on the radio and say, folks, it's really, I'm in a lousy mood today. I just, I don't feel like talking. It's actually funny to imagine. I'm a talk show host, but I just don't feel like talking today. Now, there are days I don't feel like it, but somehow or other, you know what happens? Within a few minutes of the show, I'm back up again because I had to be. By the way, that's true for everybody. Did you ever notice you're very, very unhappy? And then all of a sudden the phone rings and you pick it up and you go, hi, how you doing? Somehow you were able to act normal. Somebody comes to the door and as though you were in a fit of fury, you are now capable of controlling yourself and acting perfectly civil and calm. Hey, folks, that's exactly right. And that's the way we should look at our lives, that we have to, just like we have to answer the phone or answer the doorbell in a certain frame of mind, that's how we have to go through life generally. Life is too short to be unhappy. It comes, it goes, bye-bye. Do you want on your tombstone, so-and-so gave in? You see, this is what I realized when I was a teenager. I always point to this because it was an absolute moment of what they call epiphany, a startling realization. I was sitting on the New York subway. I grew up in New York City. I was coming back to my home late at night from Manhattan, and I had teenage angst, and the thought hit me, and it was a gift from God, I really believe, because teenagers don't usually think this way. And that thought was, Dennis, it's pretty easy to be unhappy. Any jerk can be unhappy. The trick is to be happy. It's a trick. Not a trick in the sense of it's deceptive, but that's the, what's the better word than trick? That's the aim. That's the goal, is to figure out how to do that. Because it doesn't come on its own. Now, there are people who are just naturally happy. That's the way they're made. They're very lucky. And people are lucky who are around them. But the vast majority of us have to work on it, and it's a decision that is made. That is my subject for this happiness hour. If you are waiting or allowing life to determine whether you're happy, you're doomed. You're doomed. Because there is just not enough good, by and large, to happen so regularly as to keep you in perpetual happiness, no matter how terrific your life is. You are going to have to figure out a way to say, listen, I don't have enough time to waste on unhappiness. And you've got to work on it, and you decide to do it. And the first decision is to act it. Yes, to act it. Like I have to for every show, even if on any given day I'm in a grunchy mood, whatever grunchy means. Back in a moment, 1-8-PRAGER-776.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this. Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
Hey, yeah, that was dead. Dennis Prager here. This is the Happiness Hour. Every week, subject is happiness for this hour. It's a very important subject. It's critical. You know, I have said this a number of times. It always bears repeating. As I get older, I respect people whom I meet who are happy. I respect them for their happiness. Yes, I respect them for it. To me, it is an achievement. Just as you would respect somebody who would achieve something else at a given age in life. In fact, any age of person that I meet, because it's hard to be happy when you're a teenager. It's hard in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Every era has a reason not to be happy. Well, you're a teenager, it's angst, you're just leaving the nest, and life is confusing. You're in your 20s, you don't know what you're going to do with your life, you don't know where it's headed, what will you do professionally, what will you do maritally. You're in your 30s, you're establishing a home, hopefully, and the beginnings of that are very, very fraught with confusion and so on. In your 40s and 50s, you go into midlife crisis. In your 60s, oh my God, life is hastening on here, and the kids are out, and now it's an empty nest, and what's with my marriage? In your 70s, oh my God, I'm getting old. Every age has a reason inherent to it to be unhappy. My point on this hour is happiness is overwhelmingly a decision. You decide to be it, and you follow it. It's like if you decide to work out. It doesn't come naturally to work out. There are certain people, by the way, again, the analogy is almost perfect. There are certain people who work out naturally. Certain people like me who work out because I force myself to. I rather sit than do push-ups. Okay? Personally, that's my preference. But I go and I do it because it's a decision that I have made. As I believe one should make a decision to be happy, and then you work at it, and that's why I try to help you each week and with my book. Okay, let's go here to your calls. Who the debaters like to debate his nefesh. You've created conflict. There we go. Let's go to Denver, 710 KNUS, and Todd. Hello, Todd. Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis. First of all, thanks for your show.
Thank you. Appreciate it a lot.
It just seemed like a contradiction in terms when you said that happiness is tied to happenings, which in the Greek it is.
I said it shouldn't be.
The general perception is that
yes, the general perception
is tied to happenings.
Yes,
and then you turn around and say to choose happiness, which in effect is saying choose your surroundings. And I would just change
Wait. Choose your surroundings?
Well, if your happiness is being defined as a state of mind,
yes,
and you're tying that to what's going on around you.
But I'm not. That was my whole point, not to tie it around that.
I would change the word to joy.
No.
Okay. Joy.
Let me explain. All right, that's fine. Then choose joy. Let me explain something. Thank you, Todd. I don't care, folks. I have never, and I write this in my book, I have never argued a nanosecond over what word you use, because there is no scientific definition to happiness or to joy or to contentment or to whatever other word you wish to use. Pleasure, well, pleasure, I guess, is somewhat different. If it helps you for joy, choose joy. It's fine with me. I have no argument. I don't want to lose my point here. My point is we determine to a large extent whether we are going to be happy. You can't let life's happenings determine it for you. That's my point. You want to say joy? Happily say joy. Okay, let's go to Renee in Tucson, Arizona on KVOI. Hello, Renee. Thanks for calling.
Hi, Dennis. Thank
Hi.
you so much for your show.
You bet.
In response to that last caller, we can't do anything about the things that happen to us, but we have every bit of control over the way we react to things that happen to us. And I think that when people continue to choose to stumble over the obstacles called unhappiness, we fall into the pits of misery and miss all of the great blessings that the Creator has for us.
Yeah, well, I didn't get the line before, miss the blessings of the Creator. What was that line?
I think that when we...
There, that's clearer to me. Yeah, go on.
We fall over the obstacles of unhappiness in our life. We just trip into the pit of misery.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly my point. I agree with you. You're just saying it even in a more poetic way. That's correct. That's exactly right. It is very easy to fall into those pits because they're all around. That's why I named my book, Happiness is a Serious Problem. It is.
Amen.
Absolutely. Amen to you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that. Let's go to Elisa in Los Angeles on 870 KRLA. The phone number is 18-Prager 776. Hello, Elisa.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
The reason I called was because I generally think that I'm a happy person, but as you have mentioned before, when you have kids, it really takes a toll on your patience, and I really find that I have to dig way deep down sometimes just to try to not put on a happy face, but speak to my kids in a way that's going to, make them feel good, that they're not feeling put down. It's just a constant...
That's right, it is. It's a constant battle.
Yes.
It is. Life is a constant battle, and people don't want to battle. That's why they watch 7 hours of television a day. There's no battle there. They have surrendered. Life is a battle. It's Dennis versus life, and I want to win. That's how I look at it.
Well, all the things that you said about happiness have really helped me to stay focused. And I'm not always successful, but I try.
Nobody is. Elisa, if it'll help you at all, neither am I. Okay, thank you so much.
Bye.
She's right, though. That's the point. You have to know. See, if you know this in advance, then you can really grapple with it. The problem is expectations, which is another chapter in my book. Expectations cause unhappiness. You get married, you expect, and it's almost inevitable, especially in first marriages. People assume, subconsciously or consciously, this person will fix me up. I have real issues with happiness, but this person will fill all my needs. This woman, she will be everything. My lover, my companion, my mother, my everything. This guy, he will be my knight in shining armor. He will rescue me. He will take me away from my awful battles with my own self and my moodiness or my mother or whatever it is. We have expectations. This job, this will make me happy. Every job makes you happy and unhappy if you let it. Every family has issues. It is tough to have children. It is a blessing to have children. It is tough to be married. It is a blessing to be married. It is tough to be single. It's not so much a blessing unless you decide to make it a blessing, which I think you should if you have been married or if you just can't get married for whatever reason. Of course, you should always find blessings in your state. I agree with that. I think it is better to marry, but you must find blessedness in your current state as well. I absolutely believe that. We will be back in a moment, take more of your calls. The decision to be happy is the subject on this Happiness Hour. That's what I try to help you do each week, is once you make that decision, hey, here are ways to go about it. Back in a moment, I'm Dennis Prager.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this. Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
You're listening to the Dennis Prager Show, and specifically to the weekly hour that I devote to the subject of happiness, because it's so important. 1-8-PRAGER-776, or you can email me through my website, DennisPrager.com. And the trick here is, that is here meaning in attaining happiness, it's a decision. It is natural. Think of a child. If any of you have children, you know how true this is. Your children are happy or unhappy based on what happened in the last 2 minutes. We are all children unless we decide to grow up. Hey, Alan, there's a line for the lines to keep. That's true. We are all children unless we decide to grow up. You know, when I used to talk to college students, I still go to colleges, but I used to have a program where college students came for a month at a time at an institute I used to be director of, and I would tell them this. I'd say, you know, you think, because I remember thinking this, you think that at a certain age you automatically become an adult. Not true. You decide at some age to become an adult. You might decide it at 15, by the way. You might not decide it till 50. You may never decide it. You may want to be a child, immature, cranky. Let your emotions guide you. And emotions are very powerful, but we have to be guided by our mind. Our mind must take our emotions into account, obviously, otherwise we're not human. You decide to be happy. Not let the events of the moment take you over. Look, let's be honest. 2 people lose a wallet. Losing a wallet stinks. It's probably better to have your car stolen. Because a car is replaceable, but the stuff in my wallet's not replaceable. But 2 people lose their wallets. One is in a funk for a week. One gets over it much sooner. It's a decision. It doesn't just happen naturally. You've got to be able to say, okay, I got to move on. All right. Anyway, decision is my point here. And let's go to Cleveland and 1000 WCCD and Herschel. Hello, Herschel. Dennis Prager.
Hi, Dennis. How are you?
I'm well, thank you.
Okay, I believe I have amazing biblical and scriptural proof that happiness is a state of mind and a decision, as you say.
Cool.
This is the evidence. In Psalm 100, line 2, it says, serve God with happiness.
Yeah, that's the motto of the Chabad Hasidim.
That's right. And I'm a part of Chabad.
Do I know my callers? Go ahead.
So it says, serve God with happiness.
Yeah.
Right. Now, if you change the letters, the 5 letters of happiness, the order of the letters, you get the Hebrew word machshava, which is, the Hebrew word is,
for thought.
Think.
Thought. Yeah.
So that's proof, I believe.
Really? So if you add up, people who don't know this, Hebrew letters are also numbers.
No, it's not gematria. It's just changing the order of the letters.
Oh, changing the order?
Right.
Oh, bisimcha and machshava?
Are the same 5 letters, just changed around.
All right, let me explain that to everybody. Thank you so much. That's fascinating. If you just change the letters around, I mean, it is fascinating. I don't know if it is meant, but it might be, that the biblical Hebrew word for thought and for happiness, and also modern Hebrew, if you just rearrange the letters, they come out the same. They're the same letters. That's fascinating. I like that stuff. Thank you very much. Of course, see, for those who believe biblical Hebrew has some real esoteric meanings, and I do believe that, that's fine. Otherwise, you end up with the problem like God backwards is dog, and I don't think that means much. So it's. But I do believe in this case that there might be something to it. I really do. All righty, let's go to Lakeside, California, and Sally. Sally, Dennis Prager, hi.
Good morning, Dennis. It's a pleasure to talk to you.
It is my pleasure.
Thank you. I just read your manual for a human nature repair.
Oh, in other words, my happiness is a serious problem. Yes, thank you.
I had to chuckle through it, though. It was funny, I liked your insights and what you tell us. But
yeah, anyway. It's subtitled The Human Nature Repair Manual. That's true. I never note that, but it's true. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. But anyway, I was thinking, it's funny, right before you started the segment, you mentioned what Lincoln had said. And I had written that in a book for myself a number of years ago to remind me. And the way I read it before his quote, he says, folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be.
That's it. Bless you. Thank you. Back in a moment. Dennis Prager here, and thanks for being with me. The Happiness Hour. A basic notion in the subject of happiness is that you decide to. Thank you for the last correction on the Abraham Lincoln quote. And if you want to email me that, I'll really be able to recite it accurately each time. It's a very important one. Folks are as happy as they decide to be, or something very close to that. It is absolutely correct. And that's my point, that happiness is a decision. For the child, happiness is determined by events. So they're happy at 2 o'clock, at 10 after, they're not. 2:30, they are somewhat. 2:40, they're angry. 2:50, they're depressed. And 3 o'clock, they're happy again. And that is the way we would be if we allowed events solely to determine whether we're happy, which is the way you are. That's the way an animal is. Your dog is happy when it's getting attention and getting food. Otherwise, that's it. But we are not animals because we have a mind that can determine, hey, you know what? I am deciding to be happy because I cannot let life's events determine it for me. Minneapolis on WWTC, which is the Patriot. Brat, is that correct? Hello, Brat. Is that your name, Brat?
It's Brett, yes.
Brett. Oh, I see. I read it wrong because of my eyeglasses, actually. It's Brett. Hi, Brett. I'm sorry.
Just really appreciated your comments. Just a short few notes. I was unfortunate enough, my daughter was killed in a car accident a few years ago.
My God, my heart breaks for you. Please know that.
Thank you. And I really believe that what you're saying there is really what has kept me and a lot of my family alive through that, just in the sense that we make a choice every day to get up and to either remember her in a positive light and the memories we have, or think of her in a casket or in a morgue, and allow depression to literally consume your entire day. So you basically have to make that choice getting up. Am I going to go forward for me? And
how did you know this?
I guess I've got a real strong Christian faith, and part of it is that just the way I was raised. Second of all, sticking my nose in the Bible a lot. The one Bible verse that comes to mind, and I don't recall where it's at, was just talking about think on these things, and these things were whatever is good and righteous, etc. And so we have the choice to either think on those things, or I can think of all of the tragedy that went along with the event, or I can remember her and cherish those moments. So
that's very powerful. Was your wife able to do this too?
Yes, and that's and really we rely on each other to help lift each other up. But at the same time, we all have our down spells, but for the most part, it's identifying that that's where you're at, and that I believe there's a lot of spiritual negative that goes along with depression also, and just identifying.
That's right. That's very true.
But that's the battle you're in, and you
I just want to say this to you. I have long known this, but I need to say this publicly. There are the vast majority of heroes in this world are not famous, but you are heroic, and I mean that absolutely from the depths of my heart. You are your attempt at happiness, given that you have suffered the greatest pain humans can suffer, the death of a child, is a heroic act, as heroic as any that we read about in newspapers. And I salute you, and I pray that you continue to be able to do so.
Oh, well, thank you. One other comment was just that the other is, if we truly believe that there is another place, a heavenly place, and these people have the opportunity at times to look down upon us, what would they be thinking in seeing, in this case, her father doing nothing but grieving versus going on and living life? So there's a lot of a lot of different things we can look at. But
that's a very powerful argument as well. What would my daughter want me to be doing?
Yeah. So I appreciate
well,
your
thank
comments,
you.
and I truthfully believe wholeheartedly in what you're saying.
You certainly do. You live by it. Thank you again. Louisville, Kentucky, and 970 WGTK. By the way, you folks in Louisville, I'm going to be in town November 2. So let's talk to the station and meet you folks. Tim in Kentucky, how are you?
Hello, Dennis. God
Hi.
bless you and your show.
Thank you.
I tell you, this really hit me. It just spun my head around when you said this, that in my line of work, I do a lot of lab results for people who are very sick. And I have a smile painted on my face. I've had that my entire life. I've always been, he's got a great sense of humor. And when people think you have a good sense of humor and you have a smile on your face, they think you're happy all the time. Well, I didn't realize to make that decision until one day a lady said, "You seem so happy all the time. What is your secret?" And I actually thought of you. I thought of, now, the happy, having a smile on your face and being in a good mood and being cordial and just being yourself like that is a whole different ball game than being happy. So I decided to do some soul searching and realized, I'm not really far from being happy. But if I practice at it,
that's right.
And
that's exactly right.
Father, practice makes perfect, but only if it's perfect practice. So between he and your attitude, for this, I think I'm on the upside of making myself happy instead of everybody else.
You're very wise at 36. That is exactly right. It is practice, and eventually the behavior molds the feelings. We almost always think that feelings should mold behavior.
Right.
But it was one of the great lessons of my life early on that it is, in fact, behavior that far more often molds feelings. You're great, Tim. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, you're welcome very much. It really touches me. That's exactly right. Act happy, you'll be happier. For so many reasons, not only because your behavior will change your mindset. As an example, kids who wear school uniforms act better in class. Same kids, same class. Behavior has changed the way they act. The behavior changed their insides. And there's another reason. You act happy, people will treat you nicer. We'll be back in a moment. I'm Dennis Prager.
This episode of Timeless Wisdom will continue right after this. Now, back to more of Dennis Prager's Timeless Wisdom.
All righty, everybody. This is the final segment here of this edition of the Happiness Hour. And don't go away because we have more on the Dennis Prager Show. But I have offered to you what could be truly life-changing if you take it seriously. We make a terrible error when we think that our happiness should rely, as it naturally does, on events shaping our happiness. Happy events make us happy. Unhappy events make us unhappy. But if you can decide to be happy despite the events and not rely on the events, then happy events may have a bigger impact. Although, of course, what you do is you have a certain equilibrium so that happy events don't cause you ecstasy. Because, by the way, when you get ecstatic, you will get depressed afterwards because life seeks a balance like water does. It seeks a certain level. And did you ever notice you have a great high from some event and then there is this, you have the equivalent down afterwards? It's very, very common. Now, I'm always afraid when super-duper good things happen because I know I'm going to probably sink a day or two later. But if you make the decision to be happy and act happy, then you can shape the way you are because every one of us has reasons to say, I am unhappy. Every single human being. If everyone relied on life to shape whether or not they're happy, there would be no happy people. It's the way it is. Now, let me summarize some of your calls because I can't get to them with the time remaining. Paul says that the key to happiness is giving thanks, gratitude. It's exactly right. I write that in my book, Happiness is a Serious Problem. Gratitude is the secret. That is correct. Be grateful for what you do have. That is exactly right. Gratitude is the secret not only to happiness, but it is also to goodness, which shows you how important gratitude is. Grateful people are better people. Grateful people are also happier people. That, by the way, I never bring politics into the happiness hour, but I will say the following. That those who, for political gain, try to breed unhappiness, complaints, and resentment among segments of the population are guaranteeing an unhappy people and a less good people. We should be cultivating gratitude as much as we can. Of course, there are areas where our society and where everybody can improve. That goes without saying. Doreen says, instead of enjoying the moment, we look to the future when we'll be happy. That is exactly right. But lo and behold, you know what happens? The years go by and it didn't happen, and you wasted all that time looking forward to getting happy. The time to be happy is this minute. That is exactly right. Not hedonism. That's pleasure and fun. They're nice, but they don't make you happy. This has been the Happiness Hour on the Dennis Prager Show. Make that decision, and you will be a grateful person that you heard this hour. Don't go away. I'm Dennis Prager.
This has been Timeless Wisdom with Dennis Prager. Visit DennisPrager.com for thousands of hours of Dennis's lectures, courses, and classic radio programs, and to purchase Dennis Prager's Rational Bibles.